Let's Get Down to Business is presented by Bravo, the marketing arm of Ash Brokerage Corporation, the practice enhancement company. All this week is the Business Succession Blueprint. And on today's show, our introduction into business succession with special guest Nate Sachs, the creator and architect of the Blueprint for Tomorrow. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author of Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to our show, Nate.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I have to say, I've been in this business 30 years. I've been doing business succession planning with thousands of agents. And just about the time I think I have this thing down pat, you unroll this entire premise of this is a whole new blueprint.
It's a whole series of blueprints.
But what started it, though? Why did you even go down this road?
You know, I've been doing this 36 years. And Steve, about 10 years ago, I just got tired of being IRS'd out, ERISA'd out, legislated out. Everything I got my arms around would go away. Minimum deposit, Section 79, twice. Single premium, vanishing premium, deferred compensation, split dollar, reverse split dollar, the 412I, the 419, life settlements, premium financing. And I just decided about 10 years ago I had to hang my tail on a kite that wasn't going to go anywhere. That's the business owner. That's what I call succession, exit, transition planning.
Now, when you say that, when I think about that, I'm still in that mode of Steve's mode of business succession planning, buy, sell, cross purchase, stock redemption, wait and see trust. But yours is much more expansive than this.
Much more in depth.
So talk a little bit about, once you got past the I don't like ERISA, who does? I mean, you know, talk to me about, because I'm looking at these numbers. You say here in one of your data points, 7.5 million non-farm businesses in the U.S.
Exactly right.
And is that small business or?
By the way, that's 2004. They're predicting by 2015 these numbers will have doubled.
So we'll be at 15 million, and that's non-farm business.
Non-farm business.
Wow. And when I'm looking at these stats, and of course, again, they're a little older, but really, I'm looking at 2.3, almost 2.4 million of business owners that are what I call close to retirement age, 55 and older.
That's right.
When you look at that, is that the target audience? Because I noticed you also put another stat down here that says 4.5 million business owners are 45 and older. So that's a huge chunk of people.
It's a very large chunk, and it's a tremendous market opportunity for all of us in financial services.
Well, when I look at this, tell me about how, when I'm looking at the demographics, is it people working from their home? I mean, I'm thinking of, people that I have an office out of my house. I'm working out of a small executive suite. No, I have a business in a warehouse.
It really is, first of all, the sweet spot is age 45 years or older, 15, 20 employees or more, $5 million up in revenue. But what I like to say is our clientele, our ideal clientele, is the person who owns a business but is not a business owner.
What do you mean by that?
Most of these people that we deal with, they start out looking for what I call 3 Ps. A place to go, a paycheck, and a position. Now they own a company. And they're not sure how to run a company. They don't have CFOs, they don't have boards of advisors, they don't have in-house attorneys, they didn't go to Wharton, and they just need help. They want to not be sold, they want to be taught. That's our sweet spot.
How did you discover that, though?
Just because I looked at the clients who were making the most significance with. I'm very proud to say I do a large amount of life insurance premium and a large amount of life insurance commission, as you know, and the people that were buying from us, that were embracing the program, that were doing business with us, fell into that category. They were not trust fund babies. They didn't marry it. They didn't inherit it. They were building it from day one, and they built it every single day without an owner's manual. There's no manual how to run this. And us coming with a program like this, us being any financial advisor, it's a breath of fresh air.
And they really see this approach. They're not defensive about it, it seems like. It seems like the approach is way better.
Oh, they engage it. Because they're not going to go to seminars. They're not going to go to webinars. They're not going to do online training. They're not going to hire high-priced coaches or consultants or advisors. So when we meet with them in one-on-one, and we talk about what's in their heart, what's in their soul, what are the demons chasing them around that room at 2 o'clock in the morning? We're talking right to them.
Well, what's the name of your book? You have the Slaying the Demons.
Slaying the Demons, How to Be in Business Today and Sleep at Night.
And if you want to write me, just write me at the show, steve.savant@ashbrokerage.com, and I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at this number. This is staggering. 40% of U.S. businesses are facing the transfer of ownership. Now, when I think about that, I'm thinking this is a huge block. And this is all going to happen, over the next decade?
Next 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
Or sooner.
When I think about that, how do you prepare your practice to enter into this market? Because you really had to change the paradigm.
A lot of people have tried to do this using it as what I call an arrow in their quiver. We made this our quiver. Our quiver is business, succession, exit, transition, key employee retention, growing companies. I live it, I eat it, I breathe it, but more importantly, I incorporate it in my own practice.
So in your practice, if I'm thinking, at the end of the week, I'm going to suggest to some of you may want to look at Nate from a totally different perspective, maybe for your own practice, because we have serious registered investment advisors, life insurance agents, people that are in the financial community that really have built quite a large practice and they don't know what to do with it.
Totally understandable, and I think we all did that. I used to reinvent myself daily. Every morning I woke up and thought, what am I going to do today? Who am I going to sell? And I just personally got tired of being commoditized. The margins in our products got slimmer and slimmer. Even the fees didn't make up a difference. I had to be paid to sell product. And this is what we do in this program. We're getting paid up front to sell product.
I know that I've heard this before, but you were really into explaining to an employer he needs to learn how to work on his business, not in his business.
Right.
How do you make a person make that transition, though?
It's a process. It's a program. We call them members. They're not clients or customers. They become members of the program, and we get them to work on it, not in it. And we try to explain to them that as long as they're working in it, they don't own that business, Steve. It owns them. They don't control it. It controls them.
When you think about working on your business, it's so much different than working in your business. And when we come back, I want to talk about touch on this little thing called the curse of knowledge and the bunker mentality, because
Love to.
we're all over that. And these are the kind of things that I think that really we need to change in our paradigm. When we come back from the break, we're going to go talk more with Nate Sachs about his closet concept and his priority paralysis that affects the way we do business and succession planning. And don't forget, you can request our business valuation and succession documents as sample examples from Backroom Technician at ashbrokerage.com. And you can sign up for your own 30-day free trial offer of Backroom Technician. Just go out to www.brtnow.com/trial signup.aspx. We'll be right back after this break.
Take a close look at your hard-earned dollar. How do you think your money's doing? Are you keeping an eye on it? Is it protected from taxes, inflation, and market risk? Over time, those Washingtons could become Franklins. With tax-advantaged indexed universal life from one of the largest distributors of indexed universal life, Ash Brokerage.
Well, welcome back. I'm Steve Savant with Nate Sachs. And remember, you can visit Nate's website at www.bftadvisors.com. And if you're thinking about selling your own practice, take Nate's survey at www.blueprintsfortomorrow.com/sellability score. And just a heads up, before moving forward with anything that Nate and I talk about on this show, always consult your tax advisor, your legal counsel, and as well as your broker-dealer compliance officer. Well, let's get down to business. I love this idea of the bunker mentality. I've heard you speak on this before. Tell me a little bit about it and clue our audience into what's going on in this.
The average business owner, Steve, gets in this bunker mentality. They get in the bunker in the morning, they lock the door tight, they don't come out to the end of the day. So they don't have an opportunity to talk to people like you and me. We've got to get them out of that bunker mentality.
What about the issue? I've always thought knowledge was such a great deal. Now you're saying it's a curse.
It's a curse.
I felt like I was in the Garden of Eden eating the wrong apple,
Well, there are other apples maybe. But it's a curse of knowledge that we have. We all have this knowledge that we want to come by and talk to the business owner and explain to them about all the things we know. They don't care about all the things we know. It becomes a curse. They crave brevity right now. They don't have time for 2-hour meetings and 35-page fact finders and Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoints. They need answers and solutions, not knowledge.
I think sometimes we actually pontificate a bit, trying to show people how much we know.
Absolutely.
And that is then you're saying, really, that's kind of the curse of our knowledge. And think about brevity today. I mean, we're tweeting, we're blogging, everything's getting smaller. We're texting, 140 characters all in. So the business owner has time, and you need, I think Cliff Notes, in my day in high school, Cliff Notes saved me from flunking English.
Now you're aging yourself.
It sounds like it. Well, there you go. And think about that. When we look at that kind of idea now, we're talking about brevity. Now, We talk about this closet mentality. I love this, and I wish we had time. And of course, Nate, if you have to go out and see some of his live seminars, because he's going to explain this fact. Actually, Nate and I are going to be at the same seminar at the Indianapolis Summit coming up here in about a week or so. And I want to tell you, out there, when he explains this, you're going to see some advisors really get turned on this. Now, Nate, talk a little bit about the closet, because I think a lot of guys are like this. Employers say, all I want to do is build a closet. I'm not trying to build an empire.
A few years ago, my wife came to me, and all she wanted to do was build a little bigger closet. And by the time we got done, we had architects, interior designers, a new roof line to make up for the new extension that was much farther than the closet was ever going to go, new landscaping. It went on and on and on. It became so overwhelming. I said, no, I'm done. All I ever wanted to do was build a closet. Now I'm building almost an entirely different house. Mm-hmm. And no one ever came in on my agenda. They are on theirs. What do we think you need? And I quickly realized that's us. Mm-hmm. We come into the client on our own agenda. And sometimes all they want to do is get one problem taken care of, but we overwhelm them. Mm-hmm. And we put them in what I call priority paralysis. We give them so many things to think about, they don't do anything.
Well, I'm looking at your list, and I have to tell you, the first time I saw this, Nate, honestly, I was guilty as charged across the board. Honestly, I have to be honest. I said, I am that person. I'm trying to show this person. I have every module that he could ever think of, and I've made up modules that he's never even thought of. So I am guilty. And priority, when you think about analysis paralysis, now we're talking about priority. We've just given this litany of lists that they should do, and then this is what keeps these guys up at night.
And they're all laying awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're staring at the bedroom ceiling.
Now, when you think about this, when you're walking in on a first contact interview with a client, and you're speaking like you're speaking here, you're not speaking in all these retirement, business succession modeling. You're talking about, I'm just talking about a closet. What do you want me to build for you?
Right.
And you say, how can I go from all that I've learned and change the paradigm? Because, Nate, you're actually telling me to change the way I've been doing my practice.
Totally.
So I can get in front of these people.
Totally. I'm going to say something that's totally blasphemous. I become the anti-advisor, the anti-coach, the anti-consultant. They're consulted out, they're coached out, they're advised out. These business owners want answers, and I bring a program. I'm not the differentiator. The program's the differentiator. They're laying awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're staring at the bedroom ceiling, and they're wondering about what I call the 4 what-ifs. What if I don't want to do this anything? What if I don't want to do this any longer? What are my options? What if something would happen to me? What happened to my family, to my business? What if I lose key people? What if I don't continue to improve cash flow and grow the company? And Steve, they have no one to talk to. They can't come to work in the morning and burden their employees. Mm-hmm. They can't talk about it to their vendors. They're not going to tell it to their customers. They lie to their peers, and they don't want to go home at night and talk about it to their family. Mm-hmm. That's where we come in.
Well, how do you become a psychologist? Because this is what you're talking. I mean, it sounds more like you're a psychologist than an advisor.
I don't care about what's in their pocketbook or their checkbook or their last 3 years' tax returns. I don't want to see financials. What's in their heart and soul? Tell me about the demons that are chasing around that room at 2 o'clock in the morning. We can identify them, and then we've got 14 blueprints that will slay them. 14
blueprints. Now, this week we're going to touch on a few of them only because it's just 2. It's like an anthology. So when you look at this, when you wrote Slaying the Demons, what was your number one purpose in writing that book?
To talk to the business owner like a business owner, to give them an opportunity to read They're Not By Themselves. So many people have read this book, or will write me, or email me, or call me and say, I felt like you were writing the book about me. Up until the time I read it, it's only an 81-page book. It's not a large book. But up until the time I read it, I thought I was all alone. I thought my issues were totally different than everybody else's. And I realized I'm not different.
How much of what when you began, how much of this was your former life as an advisor and a business consultant? How much did you bring forward into this whole new process?
I brought everything I had, and I'm still learning every single day. I don't stop learning. I keep learning, because the more I add, the more I can bring to them, the better they're going to be, and the more money we're going to make.
I think people are looking for a major change. We've been talking the same way for the last 20 to 25 years. Our approaches are the same, our methodologies are the same. I think it's time to look at a whole new project, and I think your premise and how you're attacking it is exactly what most advisors and insurance agents are looking for. Well, that's our story for today. I want to remind you that you can read all my online insurance news commentary, my advisor blogs and articles on producersweb.com, and my answers to consumer questions on insurance products on insurancelibrary.com, as well as all our shows on our on-demand section located at ashbrokerage.com. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or email me at steve.savant@ashbrokerage.com. And remember, there's no one wiser than an Ash Brokerage advisor. See you tomorrow.